Hey folks, AJ the CEO here, and we are back with our part two of our um, Unify this church or whatever series we want to call it. We went through setting up the UDMPro here with our access points, our PoE switch, connecting it to our access hub, and getting access installed and all this other stuff. The next thing we want to do is use the NVR, which is a higher grade version of video recorder for our security cameras. We're going to hook this up to everything here. And I don't have the space since this is all set up. I'm still waiting for the rack to get here so I can put all this stuff in place. But let me just show you what is inside the box, which is really straightforward. Just like everything else, we got our box of cables here, our power cable. Let's get that over there. We have our ears, or I think that's what they're called, for hooking it up to the rack. Have a little QR code manual for the install. And we have our nice little box here with our screws and mounting equipment and all this other fun stuff. And then we have the actual NVR itself. So the UDMPro, like I showed you in that video, has a bay for one drive. This has a bay for 4 drives. So it's meant to support more cameras. Again, don't quote me on this. With the UDMPro, I think it can only support up to like 10 cameras, I believe. I could be wrong. I don't recall. But in this scenario, we're only going to put in 1 drive right now. And that is a 6 terabyte Seagate Skyhawk surveillance drive. Now, you could put any type of drive that you want on here because these drives are a little bit more expensive than the other ones, but I would not recommend you doing that. This drive needs to be functioning 24/7 for recording purposes and then access. So it is recommended that you actually get a drive that meets those standards. All right, snaps into place, and we're gonna use one of the screws that came along with this to put it in place. And again, excuse my mess because this is where we left off with the whole Unifi stuff. So let's find a screw right there. And there it goes. Put that in place. And you could put an SSD on here, but again, a SSD or a bigger drive would actually cost more than this. The goal with this is to actually put some more drives in this at a later time. As we add more cameras, we'll actually put more drives in here. So we go ahead and slot that in, and I guess I should have moved the access point so y'all can see. Slide these out of the way because they're going to have to be out of the way anyway for where we're going to put this. So we got it there. Now let's look at this one more time here. On the back, that's your network access, but we're going to use our SFP port to connect this to our UDMPro. So let's go ahead and take that off. You do have a redundant, their own proprietary connection for redundant power. For backup, I am not going to use that. So for right now, hopefully this cable is long enough. I have another direct cable here. Now this is a 10 gigabit connection. So we may be able to leverage this from the UDMPro. I'm not sure. I'm gonna remove the front one because actually I've configured the UDMPro to use both of those as connections, and I guess I should have put the ears on here. Let's do that real quick. Because the whole goal is for me to set up everything just like I normally do with a church install, is set all this stuff up and it's already configured. So Pastor J. Kyle is already configured on the network as a user. We're going to have a meeting with the people who on the security team and do a training so that they know how to use this. This is the same thing I've set up at Epworth United Methodist and a bunch of other ministries as well too. And the beauty of this, there's no fee. You can add as many people as you want onto it. So say you have a security ministry, you can actually have each one of them download the app. They can see what's going on at any point in time. You want to add the choir director or minister of music and give them access to the one of these key fobs or whatever so they can get into the church. So you don't have to have somebody specifically with a key. They can get down there. You can set a time limit of when they can log in. We'll talk about that when we do more of a deep dive of the access, which I kind of did already. So y'all won't know if it's the original one that I recorded. No, I'm gonna re-record it because I did that before all of their equipment came in. Come on now. One more. And I gotta save all these because like I said, the rack for this that we're gonna wall mount this isn't gonna be here till Sunday. So it's not a rolling rack, so I can't really roll it anywhere or nothing like that. All right, but that's pretty much it. Now, the other thing I'm gonna do is hook up some cameras, obviously, to this, so we can actually start using that. And we're gonna do some more, show you some more with access of how you can leverage this as well, too. So let me go ahead and plug this all in, and I'm gonna set up one camera as well so that we can get this working. And be able to show you everything else that you can do with this. Again, it is February 2024, and they have Ubiquiti has a deal that if you get one of these NVRs or the NVR Pro that actually gives slots for 8 drives, they actually give you one of these G4 bullet cameras for free. Again, as much as I've reached out to them, I am not an affiliate with Ubiquiti, but I do like their products. Please do not buy this directly from Amazon. It is marked up way higher than it needs to be. So I would say just go to store.ui.com. They do ship internationally. You just got to pick what country you're at and you can get the product there. So we're going to just set up one camera for right now. And this one is actually going to be the one that's going to be paired with the door access. So when somebody swipes an access, this is going to be the one that, logs in video form. Who was that at the door? So that is really cool. So we're just going to plug this up into one of these, the PoE. And I can't remember if, I think this cable was damaged. So let me get another cable and then we're going to cut over to the computer and we're going to set up everything. Alrighty, so let's cut back over to the UDMPro interface and let's see what shows up for us. All right, so here's our interface. Let's go over here to our devices and let's see. All right, as you can see, there is our UDMPro and we're going to go ahead. We need to install Protect, but we don't want to do this because the UDMPro is going to run Protect itself. So first, let's go ahead and assign this an IP address. I am going to set, actually, this is going to be on its own network. Now that I think about it, I forgot we did that. Let's go over here to the ports, and we want to assign the port right now. So as you can see, the NVR is connected to this. It has a 10 gigabit connection, which is slick. Let's come here, and we need to change our network. This is Protect. So we're going to change that there. Let's apply that so that it gets the new IP address range. And let's also go over to our PoE switch, and we need to change where that camera is. I'm going to change all 4 of these, actually. And these 4 are going to be what our camera is going to connect to right now. So we're going to change all of those to Protect as well. So now all 4 of those ports, the last 4 PoE jacks, are going to get that IP address range. So let's come back over here to our Unifi devices, and let's see, does it update our IP address? And then we can properly add it to our system. All right, so it's got a different IP address here. So that is good to go. Now let's get this all set up. Now, one thing, my phone just showed me this. A new video recorder was detected. So I'm going to go through, and I don't have a way for y'all to read this from my phone. So I want to see if I can actually do this from the web instead. So let's try that address right here. All right, so in here, it won't let me actually configure it. So I'm going to have to go through my phone. So let me see if I'm going to add over the making this. I'm going to add over my phone, my phone, so you can actually see what I'm doing here. All right, so we're here right now. We need to give it a name. I'm just going to go with GOFM-NVR. Do next. As you can see, it picks up the one drive. We still have space for the other one, so it's healthy. I mean, I hope we would be. It's brand new. All right, so let's go to next. Now, this is where when we add other drives, is going to be more beneficial for redundancy and all this other stuff. Storage and protection policy, basic protection with large storage, high protection with limited storage. So I'm actually going to go with this one so that when we add more drives, it'll be good. Enable hot swapping will decrease the number of available drives by 1. If a disk fails, the hot swap will automatically replace it without hot spare, not hot swap. I don't need that right now. We only got 1 drive. We'll add more later. Let's go to next. And we're configuring everything. And it's just talking about how we can access all this other fun stuff and visualize it. Give us some more information about all of our setup. All right, so while that is being set up right now, let's go ahead and cut back over to the computer here, and let's see how everything is looking. Let's go full screen. Now let's go to our topology map, which is another thing that I really like, and it just shows how everything is connected. As you can see, our NVR is connected directly here. We can turn on our traffic flow. As you can see, everything is going to the NVR right now because that's what's doing updates. It says it's got 6 minutes going. We'll see all of our connections. We see what device is connected where. We see our camera on here, which again, I'm surprised the camera has not switched over to that port yet. Let's go ahead and power cycle that camera. And then that way it will pick up on the network and get the IP address range to starting with 30 so that so that NVR can actually see it. So as you can see, it separates what our networks are right here. You could come and play around with that, and we could make another network here if you needed to. All right. So maybe I should take my phone off Wi-Fi because it just answered the email, so it's showing that. But again, it's really cool, just all the other stuff that you can do with it. Now, one thing I might need to change my networks because the um the door access is going to leverage some of the cameras so that the camera can actually record who's accessing the door. I'll show you how that works as well too once this is finished setting up. So we'll be back once this is done. All right, so while the NVR is still setting up, it's got 3 minutes left. We got our camera and it picked up on the change on our different network here. So I changed the fixed IP address to 21 so that we're going to put all of this on the same network. Once the NVR is done, I'm going to put it on that separate network as well too. So it should be able to see the camera directly. Right now, we don't have the Protect app running on the UDMPro. It's running on the NVR. The NVR should see it once we move it to the same network. Now, while that is happening, yeah, actually, I was going to do something with the access, but we got to wait till everything is set up. Alrighty, as you can see, we're on our network, our Protect network. Now let's go ahead and set a static IP for this one. We'll set this one. Yeah, let's do 10. And there you go. We're now on the network, finally. So now let's go over here and let's go to our NVR. Let's go through the setup. So now this is its own thing. So all of this is good. And boom, there you go. It immediately saw that camera. Let's go ahead and add that. And we're going to adopt this. And I don't know why it's still showing that IP address. But anyway, while it's doing that, let's come over here to settings and let's go through everything we can do. So time-based recording deletion, that is something I'm going to let the church decide on. I kind of like that over time it will delete stuff so it conserves, because if you don't, when it runs out of space, it will automatically start erasing stuff. So that might work as well too. You have a recording schedule. This is new. I'm actually going to have this go 24/7. We want this to record all the time. Start day. I thought it would just do it all the time. Just call it daily. So it just records all the time. We want that to be available. Save schedule. Daily recording. Because we want it to record all the time. All right. And device groups, we'll talk about that later. If you are going from, like, say, like me, I'm using the UDMPro, it has limited amount of cameras that it can use. This is where I would download this migration and move it over if I went to something bigger like this. Auto adopt bridges. We're not going to need this, even though this is on a separate network. But that's fine. Low latency video. We can play around with that. What time do you want to do this? I might do 24-hour on this just to make it easier. A lot of people who are using this are going to be prior military, so they're fine with the 24-hour clock. Everybody else can get used to it as well too. Plus, it makes it easier when you're looking at the stuff to tell if it was morning, night, whatever. All right, you also have notifications. I'm going to play around with this when we go with the training with the people, because I have this turned off because it's annoying for me, because I manage about 7 systems to do this. I would get notifications all the time, but everybody else that's going to be doing this, they probably only have one, so they might want to do this. All right, I think enough time has gone by, and yes, we have set the camera up, and if we go over there to it, It is the camera right behind me that's upside down, as you can see. We can go in here and change the layout of everything because I want all of these cameras to stay the same. So this camera is going to be office door, and we can do groups. We're not going to worry about that. Groups are going to be like external, internal when we get to that point. Um, we ain't gonna mess with configure the device group. It has a microphone. Please don't hit this disable permanently, because if you do that, the cameras do have a mic on it. If you do this, you're gonna have to factory reset it to get it to back to work. I don't know why this is even an option right here, unless it's kind of like in private areas or whatever, but I don't know. Also, it has auto night vision. I have that turned on automatically. How sensitive do you want it to be? I'm gonna say it's medium. And these cameras also allow an external IR accessory to be plugged in to let the range go wider. We're not using that. Now, this is the overlay information. So, what do we want to see? I want to see the time, camera name. I don't need the logo. All right, advanced. Do you want to have streaming options? So you could see this on an external device. So like I did a video talking about how to set this up with a Raspberry Pi a long time ago. You would need to have this on to use that, but we're not going to use that because we have this viewport that will be able to see this. What else? That was advanced. And then under manage, this is where you can reset it, unmanage it if you need to. We're gonna apply that. And as you can see, there's our name. And if we click on it, boom, there's our camera. And we're waiting for it. And there it goes. It changed the time, the date, and the name of the camera right there. If I turned on sound, you would hear me talking, but I have my stuff muted so you won't hear it. All right. Really straightforward. Now, the one thing under here, we also have recording mode, and I want to use smart detection. This is going to save space on your hard drive. It makes it easier for you to find stuff too. So I'm going to agree to this. And how do I want this to record? I want it to only record detections. You might want to play around with this because you're limited on space as well too. So, what type of detections do I want it to record? Smart detections, which are persons and vehicle, or motion. Now, be careful with this because motion, now this is going to be on the entrance of the door. So it's not going to catch cars. Like one of my cameras on the front door, it catches every single car and it's recording like crazy. And you might want to play around with that. You might want that in certain scenarios. I don't. So for me, motion, because it's not going to be looking at the road. We're just going to track who's coming up to the door, and it will intelligently make a recording for vehicles and cars. I would hope no car would get this close to the door. So that's good. Detections, how long does motion need to happen before it's triggered? 1 second. Video quality, I want a high rate so that it will have a good recording when you try and play it back. You can set motion zones. You can set smart detection zones. Obviously, I can't set that now because it's not in its final position. You can set privacy. So if you were looking at like the door going into a bathroom, you might want to block off the window if you can actually see inside for stuff like that. You can have cross lines. You can set zones for it to see and not see and all that other fun stuff. So that is set up. So we're good. And our recording schedule is to the daily recording that we made. So this stuff is going to engage all the time, 24/7, but it's only going to do motion and smart detections. And again, over time, this might change as well too. So there we go. This is our view. So as we add more cameras, you'll have bigger views to see all the cameras at the same time. That's what this viewport will do on a TV, or somebody can just open up the web page and see it the same way. You have your playback. You can show everything here over time. And the smart detections is what I really like, is because it tracks only when there's an activity that's happening. So right now it's tracking me because it's seeing all the motion and the changes on the TV and on my computer. And then we have analytics. We can see around what time people did this and that and all this other stuff. Now we're going to jump over here to roles. You can make new roles, but mainly for me, administrator and viewer is fine. We're going to start adding people to those roles at a later time. As we add more people, there's the notifications, and that's pretty much it. So now let's see. This is going to be a learning experience for me as well too. But a minute, before we do that, let's go here to our settings, and this is just for the protect, and it looks like there's an update. So let's go ahead and kick off that update. And while that's happening, let's go back over to the UDMPro, and we want to go to access because the camera that we just set up is going to be one that's tied to this door. So if we come over here to our devices and we're going to go to our office door, we want to manage this. And we want to say a reader is connected to the access hub automatically. Okay, that's fine. And manage paired devices. I might need to put all of this on the same network. I think that was my concern with making this separate, because typically what you could do is link a camera to this. So that's what the purpose of this is. So when somebody looks at the door, it will scan that. So we're going to have to change that. So let's come all the way back over here. We're going to change. Well, let's let this finish updating. And then what I need to do, and it just went offline because it's doing an update. What I need to do is move this over to our access network. So access and protect will be the same. I mean, I might change it to Unifi. Maybe I just call it access protect or whatever. And I definitely would need to change the IP addresses since they're all in the same range. Maybe I'll do the cameras starting at 100 and moving up or something like that. So let me go ahead and do that, switch this over, and then we'll show you what we do from there. But that's the NVR. We're going to add some more cameras here in the future. I don't have enough cables right now to hook up the other 3 cameras that are going to be done. But we're going to do some more in-depth on how all of this is going to work once we install it. Let me know down below if you have any other questions, other things you want me to go over in particular. I am limited on how much I can do inside this space, but this is a full unification of a church with the network, Wi-Fi, door access, and security cameras, the protect module, with more stuff coming. So let me know and be on the lookout for the video when we install it, configure everything, because we still got the door lock, the strike, magnetic locks, button press, adding people with key fobs, all this other stuff to go. So that's about it. Link is down below to everything that we're going to use. If you ever need some help to do this stuff, or you want a consultation to talk you through what you might need for your church with all of this, whether you do a piece of it or all of it, you can hit me up at ajayhomes.com/consultations. We'll be more than happy to help you. So if you like this type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ. Catch you on the next video. Later.